spirit speaking, truth seeking, heart reaching, knowledge leaking, seeds sowing, harvest reaping, man of meager means. I have yet to leave, I'm still breathing. To quit, I have no reason. I mean, I'm asleep, but I be trying to live my dreams. I cannot even act if it's all easy. Either you gon' do it or you don't. Really, it ain't no in between. Baby, you can ask the sun. It's an everyday thing. Consistency in your routine is how you bring reality. Working like a slave, that's how I made this masterpiece. Living like a god, I lay at night, I rest in peace. They remember me, but I am not Haram beef.
Peace, 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 light, love, and illumination. And welcome to another BBT Holi Day Book Club Reading. Excited and can't wait to get started with the book that we're going to be covering today. Can't help but bob my head at the intro to our book club, the intro music to our book club. Shout out to the BBT's own Noble Brian Hicks Bay, with just some great music that we're going to be also presenting a lot more of Noble Brian's music. Straight fire, absolutely, teaches the science in between his lyrics. So we'll hear a lot more from Brian, Noble Brian, his music. But just again, shout out to everyone tuned in to the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School Facebook and YouTube page. Very excited, like I mentioned, to be here tonight for our Holi Day Book Club reading. On tonight's reading, we're going to keep it real short. On tonight's reading, a nice little snippet of something that I'll present throughout the next few weeks when I'm tapped in to come in and do a reading. So our Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School Book Club, we do this each and every Friday night. I'll be doing this at 8 Central Standard Time, but it might get pushed out a little bit on tonight's book club reading. But just, hey, we appreciate in Islam to all of our supporters of the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School, everyone who tunes in to our weekly meetings and our weekly programs that we do here, our weekly classes that we do here and programs that we do, with our mini lectures throughout the week over at Sheikh Kari's page. That's Sheikh Kari Goodman El Bay. Also, our Friday night Holi Day Book Club reading and our Adapt class on Saturday and our Sunday school that we do on Sundays, and also our weekend workouts. So with the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School, we are a temple and school, of history and science. And we teach a plethora of different things. But with this book club reading, we like to introduce you all to, as we introduce ourselves, to different pieces of wisdom. And right now, a lot of our youth, a lot of our children, they're going to be going back to school. And this school year, we should be teaching our children and ourselves, who we are and how we become who we are, and how things really function. With the students being at school, and a lot of the students are going back to school, they learn a tittle of things, but there's some other things that they may not be learning that, we're going to talk about tonight. And we're going to introduce you to an author who, and a thinker who a lot of the work that he did and different works that he gathered and compiled, you go through it, go through any of the works, something is going to happen, in your mental, something should adjust and just help benefit you. So, I want to dedicate this book club reading to, just all of the youth and even some of the adults, some of us, we're still, working in progress and learning each and every day, and expanding our minds each and every day. So there's certain topics that and books that we can hit that will actually allow you to kind of open your mind, to different ideals, ideas, and concepts that you never hit on before. So before we get started with the reading, again, it'll be just a real quick preface or introduction tonight, but throughout the weeks, we're going to continue to kind of build on this science. So I'll get us started first with our Moorish American prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is our protector, our guide, and our salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Shalom Aleichem, Ayah Asha Ayah, Islam, Amen. Peace, light, and illumination. Islam. Welcome, 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 welcome to all those who are able to tap in to the book club reading tonight. We're about to get started. All right. On tonight's book club, I'm going to be touching on, you may have heard of this author, maybe not, Napoleon Hill, Golden Rules. If you're familiar at all with the BBT, Shikari Goodman, anything that we have going on here, all week, and really, last several weeks, Shikari has been hitting, a lot on, auto suggestion. And if you've never heard of auto suggestion, I'll touch a little bit on that tonight as well. But the golden rules, this will be a nice map and guide for parents out there. There's a plethora of different books, obviously, that you can introduce your child to. This one here is just one of many that, there's things here you can read through it. It's, cut and dry, kind of a simple, easier read for parents out there. A lot of us have real short attention spans. So some of it, if your attention span is real short, I'm not sure if it's going to work for you, but you do have to try. Whenever we're trying to study something new, it's difficult sometimes, especially, depending on how you were when you were in school. So sometimes reading as an adult is a little challenging for a lot of us, really. So, I ask that you just take your time with it. I'll take my time with it tonight. But with that being said, Napoleon Hill's Golden Rules is what we'll be going over on tonight's episode. So again, Islam, 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 and love to all those in attendance. This one tonight, I'm personally dedicating it to the youth, with schools all across the place starting back up this week. Some schools started last week. Some schools will be starting in a couple weeks. I'm going to dedicate this one to the youth, because the youth, they should be introduced to who they are. A lot of youth, they don't know exactly how, they operate and navigate and just the essence, of who they are spiritually. They're not really introduced. If you attend a school where you were introduced to auto suggestion and these concepts, shout out to you, and I hope you operate your life the correct way and you're doing all those great things. This one here, though, is for the students and the youth and the parents. They never heard of auto suggestion. They don't know. They live life off the cuff, off the whim, just like most folks do. Until you work hard at something, you're with like-minded individuals, and different things. So I don't want to spend too much time. I want to get right into it because I'm just going to do a certain section from it, and then we'll just kind of keep it going throughout our next readings and everything next time I'm up. But I wanted to at least go ahead and get started a little bit here. So again, this is the BBT Holi Day Book Club Reading, The Golden Rules by Napoleon Hill. This one is for the youth. So the youth, and parents of the youth, or anyone, just, kind of tap in and pay attention to some of the things that are being said, and, just meditate on all of it later on today, and we'll see what can happen for us. But let me show this one more again. Islam and love to everybody. The Golden Rules. This is going to be the book that we're kind of diving in a little bit tonight. The Golden Rules by Napoleon Hill. Right here at the BBT Holi Day Book Club Reading. Shout out to everybody in attendance. Man, y'all the real MVPs. This one may not start at 8. This one's going to be pushed a little bit, so I apologize for that. But either way, we're still gonna make it happen, right? We still gonna make it happen. So how I want to just kind of start with this, just so for the youth. And I want to talk directly to the youth, with this one. I want to talk directly with them, and hopefully we can get somewhere. But to the youth, your parents made you feel or made you what you are physically, but you can make yourself what you will mentally, right? Like your parents made you what you are physically, but you can make yourself what you will mentally. You and every other human being are the sum total of just two things per se: heredity and environment. You inherited certain physical tendencies and qualities from your parents. You inherited other tendencies and qualities from your grandparents and from their parents. The size of your body, the color of your hair, eyes, the texture of your skin, and certain other physical qualities of this nature you inherited. Consequently, much of your physical makeup is a result of causes beyond your control. Those qualities which were wished upon you through your physical heredity are, for the most part, qualities which you cannot change very materially. However, it is another matter when you come to those qualities which you have developed out of your environment or through what is called social heredity. You can change these qualities at will. Those which you develop before the age of 10 years. 10 years will, of course, be harder or much harder to modify or change because they are so deeply set. And you will find it hard to exercise sufficient willpower to change them. Islam, and love. Again, shouts out to everyone in attendance tonight. Tuned in to Napoleon Hill's Golden Rule. Just a second, my people. Islam and love. Napoleon Hill's The Golden Rule. This one right here is for the youth. So shouts out to all of the youngins that'll be going back to school soon. If you have already been back to school, if this was your first week, and today's your first weekend back at school, I hope it was a great week. Hope it went too hard for you. Hopefully your mind was open and you were getting the information that you're getting from there and take it at home and doing that scholarly research, young scholars doing that scholarly research. I think the school from where I'm at, I believe a lot of the schools are going to be starting next week. So we'd be able to kind of get this in for those students who are starting next week. So excuse that pause for the calls, but we right back at it like we never left, folks. And I'll just say again that the size of your body, the color of your hair and your eyes, the texture of your skin, the certain other physical qualities of this nature you inherited. Consequently, much of your physical makeup is a result of causes beyond your control. Those qualities which were wished upon you through your physical heredity are, for the most part, qualities which you cannot change very materially. However, it is another matter when you come to those qualities, which have developed out of, developed before, you can change these qualities at will. Those which you develop before the age of 10 years will, of course, be much harder to modify or change because they are deeply set, and you will find it hard to exercise sufficient willpower to change them. Every sense impression which reaches your mind from the moment of your birth through any of the five senses constitutes a part of your social heredity. Social heredity. The songs you sing or hear song, the poems you read, the books you study, the sermons you listen to, the sights you see, all constitute a part of your social heredity. Probably the most influential sources from which you absorb the tendencies which constitute your personality are these. First, the teachings which you receive at home by your parents, and secondly, your teachings at church or your Sunday school. Thirdly, your teachings in your public school or your private school settings, or the information that you may see in magazines and newspapers or social media. You believe as you do regarding every subject as a result of the sense impressions which have reached your mind. Your belief may be false or correct according to the soundness or unsoundness, truth or falsehood of those sense impressions. If in the process of your schooling, you have been taught how to think accurately, how to overcome prejudices which attach to race, creed, politics, and the like, how to see that nothing but facts impress themselves on your mind, how to keep away all sense impressions which do not arise out of truth, you are very fortunate because you will be able to extract from your environment that which you can use to the best of your advantage in developing your personality and to exactly that which you want it to be. Students who are going to school this semester, they need to start thinking about themselves like this. They shouldn't go into another school year with the same information, with the same thought processes, not even understanding what their thoughts are, not understanding their imagination, not understanding auto suggestion and these things. Your child, if you're a parent listening, you should be interested in this information. Your child, you should want your child to understand who they are and how to function and how to navigate and how to move through life, and understanding mental, and spiritual, and understanding how things manifest. This is, amazing information, that your child, should walk into this upcoming semester with this information, knowing exactly who they are and can tell anyone who they are. And guess what? They apply what they know and they act accordingly, you know? So just continue to listen and get the book from us. All purchases from the Burning Bush Tabernacle are donations, So please support something real. As you tune in, I'll provide you with information. There's some information at the bottom of the screen. And if you are interested in this book and what you're hearing so far, we can, happily send this to you. So I want you to also just understand that physical heredity is something that cannot be altered to any very great extent, but social heredity can be changed, and the new ideas can be made to take the place of the old ideas. The truth to take the place of falsehood. A small, weak body may be made to house a great mind, but properly directing that mind through social heredity. On the other hand, a strong physical body may house a weak, inactive mind through the same cause. The mind is the sum total of all sense impressions which have reached the brain. The mind is the sum total of all sense impressions which have reached the brain. Therefore, you can see how important it is that these sense impressions arise out of truth. How important is it that they be kept free from prejudice, hatred, and the like? Right? This is for our youth as they go into this school year. On tonight's book club reading, our Holy Day book club reading, this is some work, and we have so many other pieces of literature. As a parent, you could read and try your best to apply and understand, and teach this to your children as we all learn for our children. We teach our children things while they're young that we didn't learn when we were young, and we try and we apply the knowledge that we get, and that's being the work in progress. You make the attempt, you give it your best effort this semester, is what we're saying to the youth in tonight's BBT Holy Day Book Club reading. All right, we want you to know who you are as you approach your classes and the information that you learned this semester. Know who you are. Ask questions. Have your thoughts. Ask your questions, and continue to learn. So we need to understand that the mind, as we continue, and we don't have much more longer, because we're just doing a little bit tonight, and we want to kind of continue to go. We want to continue to go throughout the next coming weeks. When I'm tapped in to present in our book club reading, I want to go back to this because I definitely want to continue to provide this information for myself and those around me. And if you have a child out there, your child should know who they are, and they should continue to tune in to the things that are being said tonight. So get this book, teach yourself. We have other things as well, other books that'll kind of help introduce us to who we are spiritually and mentally. And we need to understand these things, especially our youth. But they need to understand that the mind resembles a fertile field. It will produce a crop according to the nature of the seed that is sown in it, through the sense impressions which reach it. By controlling four sources, the ideal of a nation or a people can be completely changed or even supplanted by a new field. So by controlling Four sources: the ideal of a nation or a people can be completely changed or even supplanted by a new ideal in one generation. These four sources, one being the home teachings, the church teachings, your public school, private school teachings, and the information that you get online on social media. If anybody still reads newspapers and magazines, and of course, books like we're doing tonight in our book club reading. Through these four sources, any ideal thought or idea can be forced upon the child so indelibly that the results would be hard, if not impossible, to erase or change in afterlife. So I believe that it's worthwhile to repeat a few words, the two chief points made. So first, I want to give you any ideal or habit which is intended to become a permanent fixture in your mind or in the human being must be planted in his or her mind in early childhood. That's why we're talking tonight. That's why we're talking tonight. That's why we're talking tonight to the youth. So these things must be planted in his or her mind in early childhood through the principle of social heredity. An idea so planted becomes a permanent part of that person and remains with him or her throughout life, excepting in very rare instances where stronger influences than those which planted the idea tend to counteract or erase it. So the idea planted becomes a permanent part of that person or individual and remains with him or her throughout life, excepting in some cases where you may have a stronger influence than those that planted the idea. This principle is called social heredity, because it constitutes the medium through which the dominating qualities of an individual are planted and developed out of all those sense impressions which reach the mind out of one's environment. And through the five senses as separate and distinct from those physical qualities which are inherited from the parents. And I also want to just let you know that one of the most important fundamental principles of psychology through which the human mind functions is the tendency of the mind to want that which is withheld, prohibited, or hard to acquire. The moment you move or remove an object out of reach of an individual, that moment you forbid an individual to do a thing. The moment that individual strongly desires to do the very thing it has been forbidden to do. The human mind resents being forced to do anything, especially these youngins. You know, somebody need this information because they didn't know all the way. The human mind resents being forced to do anything. Well, we know that folks, you know, we hate being forced to do things sometimes, but to plant an idea in an individual's mind in such a way that it will remain there permanently, it must be so presented that the individual welcomes it and readily accepts it. All competent salesmen are familiar with what I'm talking about. You know, they practice it, and this is the habit. So presenting the merits of our services, goods. With the salesman, you know, the prospective buyer is scarcely aware that the ideas he is forming are not originating in his own mind. It's just communication, a way to communicate what we're doing. These two principles are worthy of consideration by all who would become leaders in any worthwhile undertaking, because all successful leadership depends upon their use. Whether you are selling goods, practicing medicine or law, preaching a sermon, writing books, or anything, you will find your ability greatly augmented when we study, understand, and use those two principles. And others, there's keys. We're just giving some through which the human mind may be reached. As I say again, and as we close, for the youth, as we go into this school year, understanding who we are mentally through all of the challenges of this upcoming school year, in this book club reading right now, we're going to try our best to sum it up. And parents who have children, this is just one book that we have that can break down a lot of things. Some of the next chapter will be auto suggestion, introducing you to auto suggestion and why this is how we function, whether you like it or not. But you should understand how to direct your thoughts and manage those things. And your child should as well. So I welcome you to contact us for this literature and others. But to sum it up, I wanted to just say, we are the sum total of two factors, heredity and environment. You can't help how you were born, but you can build up your strong traits and overcome your weak ones. And you can change your environment. You can change and alter your thoughts, purpose, but we want to focus on God's purpose and your life aim. But it's up to you. It's up to me. Do you want it? Do you want this life? You want to change your life? You want to change your habits this school year for our youth, for our parents? You want to change our habits with our children as they come back from school? Maybe they'll start a little homeschooling, go over some things that were taught just for clarity and understanding. So if you want these things, then you can have those things. If you want those things, you can have those things. So I just wanted to touch base a little bit on some of that introduction of the book here. Next time, we'll dive more deeper in auto suggestion. Next time we'll go a little deeper on auto suggestion. It is important for children to understand things about themselves. It's important for our youth to know and to understand that they didn't just get here. And if our children and us as adults, if we want more, we need to understand auto-suggestion. We need to also study these things. So I thought that this would be a good lesson for our youth as they approach the next school year here. And we just grow a little bit more each and every day, grow a little bit more each and every day. So shout out again to everyone who tuned in to our BBT Holi Day Book Club reading. If you like the information and you were presented with concepts and ideas that you were not introduced before today, I hope that you would reach out to the Burning Bush Tabernacle. We are a science temple and school. We are a library. We are a place of study and brotherhood. And what we we promulgate, you look like me, understand yourself, I'm not Negro, black, and colored, African American. You look like me. You've been called that your whole life. One thing that the thing that the youth should also understand is, if you've been misnomer, mislabeled Negro, black, colored, African American, your children, yourself, you need to understand. Stop doing that. Understand identity, understand nationality and spirituality. Two keys that we also teach here at the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School under the map and guideship of Sheikh Khari Goodman El Bay. So, we have the literature here. We have millions of documents, rare, expensive books here, books that can introduce you to so many things that you didn't learn when in any part of your life, that could only, help with your life. We're not reading just to read and collecting things just to collect them. We are applying the knowledge to our lives and reaping the benefits. And it spoke a little bit about that today as well. Sowing and reaping. It's going to be a grind this semester, but sow and reap, understanding who you are mentally and spiritually through auto suggestion and things like controlling and directing your thoughts and emotions. So much on tap, for the next few weeks here at our book club, BBT. So again, I want to give you some information that, if you wanted to pick up the literature tonight or anything, we have so much wisdom, millions of documents, history, all different types of things. You can contact, we have a couple different pages. We have mypdfbooks.com. That's books with a Z, mypdfbooks.com. That's books with a Z for this book and so many others. Bindedbooks.com. We could bind you a copy of a book and get it shipped off to you. So if you like reading physical pages, we got you. We got you covered there as well. And so many other things. We opened up the show with, with our noble Brian Hicks Bay music. So shout out to Brian. Shout out to all music lovers. If you want to check his music out, that's going to be Transportation of Raw Materials on all places where you listen to your music at. And then also shout out to some of our other brands. We got ALO Design Pros. We also have MoorishHaberdashery.com. If you want any of Moorish regalia, fezzes, turbans, so much over on MoorishHaberdashery.com. Please check it out. And then Mayat Sun Teas, if you're into, nutrition, great drinks, Mayat Sun Teas. We got them teas. We got those books. We got everything you need over at the Burning Bush Tabernacle. Check us out for donations through Zelle. You can donate to our Burning Bush Tabernacle Zelle account at 602-473-8767. That's 602-473-8767. You can visit bbtsciencetemple.com and subscribe to the BBT Science Temple YouTube page and Facebook. And be sure to hit that notification bell for alerts and all updates. bbtsciencetemple.com, 602-473-8767. For all inquiries on books, you can go to our websites, mypdfbooks.com, bindingbooks.com, or simply email us at burningbushtabernacle.ts@gmail.com. Okay? And that's Islam and love. To everyone, I like to end our book club reading tonight because I got to get this thing played. I like to start, or I like to finish and drop and end with our Moorish American prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is our protector, our God, and our salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Shalom Malakim, Ayah Asha Ayah, Islam, Amen, peace, light, and illumination. Have a great semester, students. I wish you all the best. Keep those minds open. Reach out, parents, to the Burning Bush Tabernacle. We would love to provide your students with the literature that they may need or other literature that they may need to kind of, compare and just do further research on the things that they're going to be learning this school year. So don't hesitate to contact us. And thank you again for everyone who tuned in. That's peace, light, and illumination. Islam.
I'm a spirit speaking, truth seeking, heart reaching, knowledge leaking, seeds sowing, harvest reaping, man of meager meaning. I have yet to leave, I'm still breathing. To quit, I have no reason. I'm asleep, but I be trying to live my dream. I cannot even act if it's all easy. Either you gon' do it or you don't. Really, it ain't no in between. Baby, you can ask the sun, it's an everyday theme. Consistency in your routine is how you bring reality. Working like a slave, that's how I made this masterpiece. Living like a god, I lay at night, I rest in peace. They remember me, but I am not Haram or beef.